So good morning and welcome to your Thursday morning yoga practice. I have been reading A Promised Land, Barack Obama's new book, and I'm not very far along. I'm just at the point where he is a first-term senator from Illinois, and people are coming up to him saying, I think you should run for president, enter the Democratic primary for what would be the 2008 presidential election. And in the book, Barack Obama writes that, he was really focused on being a senator, but he also, was thinking, oh, maybe one day I'll run for governor. But at that point, running for president wasn't something that he thought he was ready for. So as I'm reading this, I am reminded of the words of the writer Ralph Bloom, who said that at least once in every life, there comes a moment that will transform that life forever. And that we have to leap into that moment as if we're leaping into the void with empty hands. So we can do all the preparing that we want to do, all of the study, all the learning, all the practice, but then there comes that moment when we must leap empty-handed into the void. And you can read that a couple of ways. One way is, I'm not ready, so I'm going empty-handed into this moment that will change my life. And another way to read it, which is the one that I prefer, is I've done as much prep as I can do to get to this moment. And now it's time for me to let go of all of that study and all of that learning and just trust that I have incorporated it and leap open-handed into the present moment. Be open to what could happen, what possibility is. So we're going to have a few opportunities today to leap empty-handed into the void. None of us that I know of are running for president or even, school board president. Maybe you are, but we all have moments that can transform and change our lives forever. So let's start in this moment. Find a seat that's comfortable for you and then close your eyes. Lean back just a little bit. In yoga, we like to say that our back body is a repository of our wisdom, of all of our learnings, of all of our lessons, of all of our study. So before we leap empty-handed into the void, lean back a little bit into what you know and trust that you have the experience, the knowledge to move forward into the next moment. Take a deep breath in through your nose and slowly sigh that breath out through your mouth. Let the sigh last a long time. And then begin to just breathe regularly. Bring your hands together in front of your heart in Anjali Mudra. And make a commitment to yourself here to trust in yourself. No matter what postures come up, what sequences of postures come up on the mat, rely on the knowledge of your body, rely on your ability, rely on the hours of practice that you've put in that have brought you to this moment that will allow you to be present as you leap semi-empty-handed into the void. Release your hands down, lift your head up, and then open your eyes. All right, friends, if you're going to play music, now's the time to press play. And then we will meet on our backs with our knees bent, soles of the feet on the mat. So here, with your feet on the mat, let your inner knees fall in towards one another. Feet are about hip width distance apart. And take your arms out to a T. Turn your palms up towards the ceiling. empty-handed here, open, receptive, ready. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Slowly exhale through your mouth. Settle into that back body, trust in it. Feel your steadiness. And then widen your knees out just a little bit. And then start to windshield wiper your knees back and forth. So on an exhale, take your knees to the right. And on an inhale, bring them back up. And then exhale to the left and go back and forth. Just getting a little movement into the lower body, opening up the lower back a little bit. Maybe you feel this a little bit into your outer hip as you go side to side. After the next time you take your legs to the left, bring them back up, plant that left foot on the ground, cross the right ankle above the left knee, and then hug your left thigh in. Take your hands on either side of the left thigh, interlace your fingers there, and then gently pull your leg in. So Julia, we'll have a little reclining pigeon before we get to our seated pigeon here. So I want to work the left ankle a little bit. You have options for where you have the left lower leg in space. So you can have the left knee bent and roll your ankle around one way a few times and the other way a few times. Or if it feels right for you and not too much of a stretch, straighten out the left leg and roll the ankle around one way and then the other. And then place your left foot back onto the ground. Take your arms back out to a T. Cross your right leg all the way over the left, so there's not a space between your legs. And then on an exhale, take your knees to the left. If it works for your neck, turn and look over your right hand. And then inhale, bring your legs back up. So we're going to take a reclining eagle pose here. Keep your right thigh crossed over your left thigh. We'll do something else with the legs in a moment. And then bring both arms up into the air. We're going to get the eagle wrap of the arms. So first option here is just to bend the elbows and bring your forearms and your palms together as much as you can above your face. Or you can wrap the arms into the traditional eagle wrap by taking your right arm behind your left arm, bending the elbows and bringing the palms together. Try to get those elbows pointing up towards the ceiling. Draw your belly down and then lift your left foot up. So for the eagle wrap of the legs, first option is to press the outer shins into one another. Second option is to wrap your right foot under your left shin. So take a breath in here, and then as you exhale, knees and elbows come together and tap twice, and then inhale, fingertips down, toes down to the floor. Exhale, pull in, tap twice, inhale, tap to the floor. Exhale, tap twice in, inhale, tap down once, two more. Exhale, pull in for the double tap. Inhale down, last one on this side, lower down, and then unwrap everything, feet on the floor, take your arms back out to a T. We'll take the second side here, right foot on the ground, cross the left ankle above the right knee, and then hug your knee in, take your hands on either side of your right thigh and gently draw in reclining pigeon here, or reclining figure four. And then we'll work that right ankle a little bit, either with the right knee bent or right leg straight. Roll your ankle a few times one way and a few times the other way. And then right foot back down to the ground, release your hands, take them out to a T, cross the left leg all the way over, And on an exhale, twist. Take your knees over to the right. Maybe take your gaze out past your left hand. Inhale, bring your knees back up. Keep the cross of the legs here, and then take your arms into the air. We'll take this reclining pigeon pose. So again, either try to get the elbows, the forearms, and the palms to touch above your face, or take your left arm behind the right arm, bend at the elbows, palms touch, and then belly in, lift your foot off the ground, and either press your outer shins in towards one another or wrap your left foot under the right. 5 times. Exhale, pull in for the double tap. Inhale, tap down onto the ground. Exhale, tap. Inhale, down. Exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, one more time, double tap in, inhale down, and then unwind everything. Feet on the floor, hip width distance apart. Take your arms by your sides. We'll turn the palms up here, practicing leaping empty-handed into the void, and take a bridge pose. Deep breath in, exhale, lift your hips up. If it works for you, you can interlace your hands underneath, or just keep the backs of the hands on the ground, palms up towards the sky, open up that front body. And then exhale, roll back down to the mat. Bring the soles of your feet together, take your knees wide. We're gonna come up to a seat with one sit-up. The sit-up is gonna be harder if your feet are closer to your hips, easier if your feet are farther away. Place your hands on your thighs, take a breath in. As you exhale, lift your head up, look past your feet, and then keep lifting, drawing your hands out past your knees, coming up to a seat, and then we will forward fold here. You can take your hands wherever it works for you. A little more hip opening. And then inhale, bring your torso up. We're gonna come up to stand. You can come up to stand however you want from here. Mountain pose, Tadasana, feet about hip width distance apart. Some people like to put their feet together. That's fine too. Hip width is more stable for me. Hands to your heart, strong into your core. Draw the shoulders back. And then on an inhale, take your arms up into the air, palms touch overhead. On your exhale, stay standing upright, sweep your arms down and back behind you, interlace your fingers there, keep your chest broad, and exhale, forward bend. Keep your hands on your low back for now as you forward bend. Let your head hang down, move it around a little bit. Put as much of a bend in your knees as you need here. We just want a gentle stretch in the backs of the legs. We've got more time to open up the backs of the legs, so no rush here. And then as you're ready, start to bring your hands away from your back, reaching the crown of your head for the floor, reaching the pinky fingers away from your back. And then release your hands down to the floor. Inhale, lengthen forward. On your exhale, downward facing dog. Hands at the front of your mat, feet to the back of your mat. In downward dog, big inhale through your nose. Big, long, forceful exhale through your mouth. Ride your inhale into plank and ride your exhale down to chaturanga. Inhale, cobra pose, lift, and then exhale, lower down to your belly. Take your hands behind your back again. If that's not working for you to interlace your hands behind your back, you can have your hands down by your hips, palms up. Take a breath in, and then exhale, let the breath out. And then as you inhale, lift up, locust pose, lift your legs, lift your arms, either hands separated if that works for you, or interlaced. Lift across the chest. We're strengthening the back body so that we can rely on that strength to take us forward into this next transformative moment. Exhale, lower down. Bring your left forearm across the front of your mat so it's parallel to the front of your mat. Left elbow is right underneath the left shoulder. Bend your right knee, reach back with your right hand or a strap, grab your foot and draw your heel in towards your hip. Turn your face to look back over the left shoulder. Keep your head turned to the left and then lower your right ear down towards the floor as you draw your left shoulder blade down the back. This is to stretch your neck a little bit. Inhale, bring your head to neutral and then release that right leg back. We'll take the second side. Right forearm comes across the front of the mat, right elbow right underneath the right shoulder. Bend the left knee, reach back with whatever you've got. Hold on to the left foot, draw it in towards your hip. Turn your head to look past the right shoulder. And then lower that left ear down towards the mat. And also at the same time, pull the right shoulder blade down the back towards your waist. Inhale, bring your head back to neutral, release your foot. Bring your hands in place for chaturanga, tuck your toes under. We're eventually going to make our way to downward dog with one long exhale. We'll move through chaturanga and then plank and then to downward dog with one exhale. Take a breath in. Your back body is strong. You got this. A little bit of breath out, chaturanga, full breath out, plank and downward facing dog. Once again, deep inhale through your nose, big exhale through your mouth. Inhale, right leg back and up behind you. Exhale, lunge the right foot up to the top of your mat. Come up to warrior one. Get steady into your legs. And then we'll do a little shoulder opening here. As you inhale, take your arms back behind you and down. As you exhale, bring them forward and up. 2 more circles like that. Back and down. And then up. 1 more, lower down. Lift up, and then we'll take a half circle. Take the arms back and down, interlace your hands behind your back. Hug your belly in, draw your tailbone down. So even in this split stance of the legs, we're trying to get the pelvis towards neutral, belly in, tailbone down, and then draw your hands down your back leg, lifting your chest up. Inhale, back up, arms up overhead. Interlace your fingers, bend at your elbows. Take your hands, interlace right behind the head, sort of cup at the base of your skull, lifting your head up and then curling the elbows up towards the ceiling and back behind you. See if you can keep this openness across the chest and then lift the arms up, unlace them, reach them back behind you. And now here's a big opportunity to leap empty-handed into the void. You got this, warrior 3. Exhale, come forward. Warrior 3. Inhale, back to warrior 1. Hands can be in any position, maybe at your heart. Exhale, warrior 3. Inhale, warrior 1. One more time, warrior 3. Leap forward, hold that balance, and then back finally to warrior 1. Hands down to the mat, either side of the front foot. Bring your back foot in, maybe just an inch or 2. Straighten the front leg. We'll take a couple of breaths here in pyramid pose or Parsvottanasana. Maybe you fold over that right leg. And then inhale, plant your hands, step back to one leg dog. Right leg lifts back and up behind you. You have the option here for a vinyasa, maybe a one-leg vinyasa with the right leg lifted. Maybe you put your foot down, take the 2-leg vinyasa, or hold downward facing dog. That's where we'll all meet together to start the second side. Inhale, left leg back and up behind you. Exhale, lunge it to the top of your mat. Come up to warrior one. 3 arm circles back. Inhale, take the arms back and down. Exhale, forward and up. Inhale, back and down. Exhale. One more full circle. And then a half circle. When you take the arms back, reach them behind your back, interlace, put the other thumb on top with the interlacing this time. Belly in, tailbone down, strong legs, back bend. Lift your chest up, slide your hands down your back leg. Inhale, lift back up, take both arms up overhead, interlace your fingers with the goofy grab again, the one that's not as comfortable. Cup the hands behind the base of the skull. Curl in your upper back to point those elbows back behind you, and then open the arms up, straighten them, reach them back. Here we go. Trust here. Leaping empty-handed into the void. Exhale, come forward into warrior three. Any hand position works. Step back to warrior one. 2 more times like that. Come forward, warrior three. Back to warrior one. Last time for warrior three. Hold that balance just for a second. And then back to warrior one. Big back bend here. And then exhale, hands down to the mat. Maybe pull that back foot in a little bit, straighten the front leg. Try to square your hips up. So that means pulling the left hip back and the right hip maybe down a little bit towards the floor. If you have the room for it, bend the elbows, fold over your leg. And then vinyasa time, hands on the ground, maybe one leg with that left leg lifted as you flow through. Use your breath to guide you, pose to pose. Oh yeah, you're looking really good. And then from downward dog, look up at the front of your mat, and you can take a lot of little steps to walk up to the top of your mat where you're looking. Maybe you take 2 big steps, or maybe 1 hop, and we'll meet in forward bend at the front of the mat. And then inhale, rise up, arms to the sky. Exhale, hands to your heart. Take a breath in here. On your exhale, chair pose. Get your hips low and lift up through your heart. So find the back bend in that upper back. Keep your belly drawing in so you protect your low back. And then exhale, hands to your heart. Twist to the right. So bring that left arm across, point the left elbow towards the ceiling. Hands are still pressing into one another. So look down at the floor, bring your weight into your right foot. This one's a little bit different from what we normally do. Lift your left heel up towards your left hip. 3 times, stretch that left leg back, and then inhale, bring it back in where it started. 2 more, exhale, stretch back. Inhale, bring it in. This time when you stretch it back, keep it back, lower the ball of the foot to the ground. So we're in a revolved crescent pose here. Fly the arms apart. Left fingers towards the floor, right fingers towards the sky. Keep the twist, and as you inhale, lift up. So you've got your right fingers out, left fingers out in front, right fingers back behind. As you inhale, turn your palms up, straighten your front leg, bring your fingertips to touch overhead, keeping the twist. Really work on pulling those right ribs back. Exhale, lower back down. Keeping the twist the whole time. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. One more, lift up, and this time turn to face the left long side of your mat. All your toes pointing towards that left long side of your mat. Take your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers. Exhale, wide legs, standing forward bend. When you're ready, start to bring your hands away from your back. Of course, if you have any shoulder issues, just lower your hands to the floor or wherever it's comfortable for you. And then inhale, rise back up. Turn your front toes to face the front of your mat. Open your arms out front and back for triangle pose. Take a breath in here, stretch forward, really practicing keeping length into the right side body, and then bring the right fingers to the ground or your block. Roll up through the left shoulder, maybe take your gaze up past your left hand. And then on your exhale, hands down to the mat, bend into your front knee, and then lower the left knee to the floor. Walk your hands up to your front knee. If you want to pad that back knee, you can. Just put your shirt or your mat under it. So work on finding a neutral pelvis here. Belly in, tailbone down. And then take your thumbs and wrap them around your rib cage. So here, thumbs will be in the back. Other fingers are pointing towards the front. Use the thumbs to push the ribs forward and up a little bit, keeping the belly strong and the tailbone down. Maybe you draw your tailbone forward, bending more into that front knee. And then take the arms up overhead. Big back bend here in your low crescent pose. And then exhale, hands down to the mat. Lift the back knee up. Got a little opportunity here to step into the present moment with some trust that you got this. Standing splits, standing on your right leg. Lift the left leg into the air. Maybe your left leg's a little lower. Maybe you've got it up vertical or almost vertical. And then handstand hops. So you can stay with the standing split if you just say, no way, I'm not quite ready. I haven't put in enough time for a handstand hop. Or maybe take 3 handstand hops here, lifting up through the left leg, getting a little bit of air with that right leg. And then eventually bring the left foot down to meet the right, stand in forward bend, chair pose. And then stand all the way up. Root down into your feet, belly in, tailbone down, lift up through your heart, and then take a standing back bend here. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, hands to your heart. We'll start the second side here. It begins with chair. Lower down into the hips and lift through the heart. Lift the crown of your head, lift your hands. Exhale, hands to your heart. Twist to the left this time. Right arm comes across. And then look down at your mat. Bring your weight into your left foot. Pull your right heel up towards your right hip. 3 times. Reach the leg back and then pull it back in. Balancing the whole time on the left foot. Reach the right leg back. Pull it in. This time, 3rd time, when you stretch the right leg back, lower the ball of the foot to the floor. Twist a little more. Lower the left fingers to the floor, right fingers to the sky. I got that wrong, sorry about that. Right fingers to the floor, left fingers to the sky. And then on an inhale, keeping the twist, lift your torso upright. Crown of the head reaching up towards the sky. Turn your palms up. As you inhale, take the arms up overhead and straighten the front leg, keeping the twist. Pull the left ribs back. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift. Hold the twist. Exhale, lower. One more time. Inhale, lift. And then turn to face the right long side of your mat. toes pointing towards that long side. Take your hands behind your back, interlace, forward bend. You have options here with your hands. You can keep them interlaced and draw them away from your back. Maybe lower them to the floor. If you lower your hands down, you maybe can grab onto your feet or whatever helps you fold in a little bit more here. On your next inhale, lift back upright, and we'll get ready for triangle pose. Turn your left toes to face the front of your mat. Open your arms out front and back. Strong into the core. Stretch forward through your left hand and then left fingers to the floor or your prop. Draw the right shoulder open. Maybe if it works for your neck, take your gaze up past your right hand. And then exhale, hands down to the mat, bend into the front knee, lower the back knee down to the floor. Walk your hands up to your front knee. So back out of your lunge a little bit, belly in, tailbone down, trying to keep this neutral pelvis to make the back bend happen more into the upper back. Again, wrap those thumbs around your rib cage. And then start to curl in the back. At the same time, you might come forward, putting more weight into the front foot. At the same time, keeping the belly in and the tail down, and then take the arms up. Low crescent pose with high arms, big back bend here, breathe into it. And then exhale, hands down to frame the front foot, lift the back knee up, standing splits. You got this, come forward onto your left foot. Lift that right leg into the air. First option, stay in the standing split. Having the courage to be there, the faith. Second option, take a couple of hops towards handstand. So these don't have to be anything crazy. Or maybe you come all the way up to handstand and hold it. Or maybe you come up and hold for a few breaths. And eventually, we'll all meet in a standing forward bend at the front of the mat. We've got one more chair pose in this practice. Lower your hips down, lift your heart up, and then stand all the way up. Standing back bend. If you get a sensation in your low back or in your neck in your standing back bend, use your hands to support. So for the low back, bring your hands onto your low back, pressing in and down, and take a back bend there. For your neck, interlace your hands behind your head, and then back bend here. Inhale, come back upright. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale, take the arms up to the sky. Exhale, float down to the earth. Inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale, take your vinyasa, stepping into downward dog, maybe jumping into chaturanga. Take your back bend, and then we all meet in downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg back and up behind you, stretch it way up, and then exhale, lunge your foot to the top of your mat. Come up to warrior two. And then from warrior two, straighten your front leg, turn your toes to face the left long side of your mat. So I'm gonna ask you to watch me do this little series first, and then we'll do it all together 5 times. So you can have your hands at your heart or hands at your hips. You decide where they want to be. I'm going to show you what it looks like. From the wide leg stance, we're going to step the left leg back behind the right leg into a curtsy lunge. And then inhale, take the left leg out, hold it just for a second there, and then take that big leap into Skandasana. So I'll do it a little bit faster to show you. Curtsy lunge, lift for a pause, leap down into Skandasana. You ready? So you can keep these high or you can get really low in them. You decide. We'll do it 5 times together. From the wide leg stance. Take a breath in, exhale, curtsy lunge. Inhale, left leg out to the side, pause, and then to Skandasana. Lift up, curtsy lunge. Left leg reaches up and then down to Skandasana. Curtsy lunge. Lift up, leg out to the side, pause, down to Skandasana. We got 2 more. Curtsy, lift and hold. Side lunge. Last one, curtsy, lift and hold it. Side lunge, and then just straighten your leg. Oh. Triangle pose again. Turn your right toes to the right, and then reach out, fingertips down to the ground. Open up the top side body. And then exhale, hand down to the mat. 1 leg dog, lift your right leg up for a 1 leg flow, 2 leg flow, hold downward dog, or take a child's pose here. You've got options. Listen to your body, listen to your breath. If you're out of breath like I am, maybe you just hold a child's pose. From downward dog, we'll start the second side right here. Inhale, left leg back and up behind you, stretch it high. Exhale, lunge it to the front of your mat. Come up to warrior 2. And then from warrior 2, straighten the front leg, turn your toes to point towards the right long side of your mat. Bring your hands to your hips or hands to your heart, you decide. So 5 times, we're gonna go through that little curtsy lunge, leg lift, Skandasana, or side lunge sequence. So it's the left foot that's gonna step behind the right. Take a breath in. As you exhale, step back, curtsy lunge. Inhale, lift the leg up, then side lunge into it. Curtsy lunge, lift, side lunge. Keep on going. I'm counting for you. I've got 2 more. And last one. Take that leap into your side lunge and then straighten your legs. Triangle pose. Turn the front toes forward, open the arms out front and back. Lean out and then fingertips down. And then exhale, hands down to the mat. 1 leg dog, left leg lifts. You take your vinyasa as you like. We're gonna meet on our bellies. Even if you're skipping the vinyasa, roll your way on down to your belly. And for those of you who are taking your flow time, we'll wait for you until you get there. From the belly, we'll take a back bend. So this is called bow pose. I'm gonna give you a couple of options. The first option I think is harder, but harder overall, but easier on your shoulders. So for this option, for both options, bend your knees, soles of the feet into the air. For the first option, bring your arms out to a cactus pose. Take a breath in and then inhale to lift. So if you lift your legs and lift your arms, you're not binding anywhere for the back bend. That's what makes it so hard. Second option, take your hands back, reach and grab your feet or your ankles, lift your shoulders up, take a breath in, and then as you exhale, press your feet up towards the ceiling with the crown of your head up. So we're really strengthening that back body here. Yes, 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 you look great. And then exhale, lower down. Okay, crocodile pose, just for a moment here. Widen the legs out. Bend the elbows out to the sides, and then have your hands underneath your forehead here. You can rock the hips if that feels good for you. And then make your way back up to downward facing dog. From downward dog, bring your feet to the top of your mat. However, you want to make up that distance from the back to the front. One more time here, take a deep forward bend, fold over your legs, and then inhale, rise up, arms stretch up high, and then exhale, hands to your heart. So we're going to take a leap backward, not quite empty-handed, into the void. So if you have a door that you can press against or a wall in your yoga room that you can press against, we're gonna stand with our backs to that door or to that wall. So I'll show you from the side. I don't have a wall where I can show you from the side. Eventually I'll turn to this wall, but we're gonna stand with our backs at least 12 inches away from the wall and arms up, belly in, tail down to get that neutral pelvis as best as we can. And then bend at the elbows. You'll place your hands on the wall and start to walk your hands down. So find your spot, take your arms up, belly in, tail down, and then bend your elbows. See if you can get your fingertips on the wall. And then start walking the hands down. Remember, as you walk the hands down, to keep the belly in and keep the tailbone reaching down. And as far down as you go, you have to be able to have the strength to walk yourself back up. So walk on up as you're ready. Good. We're doing all of this practice to get us ready to leap backwards empty-handed. Now, back on your mat, come onto your knees for a camel pose. So we did a low lunge, low crescent lunge earlier. I asked you to wrap your thumbs around your rib cage here. Let's do that in this camel too. We're gonna just do camel one time here. So you can have the toes tucked under or tops of the feet on the floor. It doesn't matter. We're not gonna drop all the way back. So first, belly in, tail down, trying to get neutral here. Inhale, lift up through the spine, and then draw your thumbs forward to lift your heart up. Take your gaze up. If you're really feeling it and you don't have any pain in your low back, maybe take your arms back and up behind you. And then inhale, lift with your chest, and then your neck, and then your head. Bring your hands down. Come back to downward facing dog. Bring your right leg forward for pigeon prep. So in the pigeon prep, I always like to take time here to get situated before I try to deepen the pose. So find the place for your shin to be where you don't have any knee pain or any hip or low back pain. If you can't quite get there, then you'll come onto your back and take that reclining pigeon that we did earlier in the practice. If you're all set up, lower your elbows down. Fold in here. And be really conscious about your breath here. So we're very still in our bodies now. Make sure your breath is a little longer than your natural breath. That's going to require you to pay attention to it. And that slower rhythm of the breath is going to help you settle into the pose a little more than if you had a very fast-paced breath, then your muscles would sort of be clenching up. Here, you want to relax into the pigeon just a little bit. All right, start to walk your hands back up. Maybe come on to fingertips or maybe fingers or hands on blocks here. Lift your chest up. And maybe you've done enough practice, enough study, strengthening the back body that you can lift the arms up, take them up overhead. And then exhale, hands down to the floor, step back to downward facing dog. Pigeon on the second side. So bring your left leg forward. Left knee is just a little wider than your left wrist. If you've got the left knee right in line with the left hip, you're going to have less opening in the hip. So see if you can widen that knee out a little bit. Set your shin, your foot, where you don't have any knee pain or back pain. If you can't quite adjust to get there, come onto your back for the reclining pigeon. If you're in the regular seated pigeon, lower down maybe to forearms or forearms on blocks. Some of you might be stretching your arms all the way out in front with your forehead on the mat. And again, focus on your breath. Now that we're still, bring a greater awareness to your breath. And then start to walk your hands back. So it takes this trust in all the prep you've put in for this back bend. Lift the heart up. Maybe hands stay on the ground. Maybe you can lift one hand. Maybe you need the other on the ground to hold you steady. Or maybe both hands lift up. Lifting up through your heart, belly in, tailbone down, trying to work towards neutral in the pelvis. And then exhale, hands down to the mat. So here, let's step back to downward dog. Yeah, we'll just take the downward dog here. And then we're gonna come onto our backs. So lower down and come around. You might already have been on your back for reclining pigeon. Come onto your back. We've got a couple more back bends, and this is what we've been working up to in our practice today, getting ourselves ready to the point to take this big leap into a bigger back bend. So first back bend here is a return to bridge pose. Arms down by your side, squeeze the shoulder blades together on your back, press the back of your head down, really root the soles of the feet into the floor, lift the hips up. If it works for you, interlace your hands underneath, walk the shoulders under now, and really press into your feet, into your arms, into the back of your head, and go for that big opening across the front of the body. And then exhale, lower back down. Walk your shoulders out. So we're going to take two more back bends. You can keep doing the bridge. You can go back to a camel. You can walk your hands down the wall, or you can come with me into wheel for the second back bend in this series. So for wheel, bring your hands on either side of your head. We did bow pose on our bellies. This is just the opposite of that. We're going to have our feet and our hands on the ground. So take a breath in, and as you exhale, push into your feet, lift your hips. Another breath in. As you exhale, push into your hands, lift your heart up here. And then once you're in your wheel, start to walk your feet back towards your hands. So be on the balls of your feet, walking the feet back, and then rock a little bit, bringing the knees forward and then pushing the chest towards the wall where your face is facing. So take a couple of rocks here, and then walk your feet back out and lower down to your back. So if you were not coming into wheel, you've got one more back bend, your choice, whatever you want to do. If you were lifted into wheel and you walked your feet back and you were rocking back and forth and you felt okay, Then let's try to rock forward, bringing our knees down onto the floor, and we'll lift into a camel that way. So that's what I'm gonna do. If you wanna go there with me, I'll talk you through it the whole time. Or take any last back bend that really is challenging you to open across your heart, moving into that deep place of trust, of knowing that you can do it. So if you're gonna do that wheel to make the transition forward, place your head towards the back of your mat so you'll have room for your knees to land at the front. Set your feet, set your hands. First, we lift into wheel. So come on up, however you get up there, and then start walking your feet back. You'll get to a point where you can't walk them back anymore. And then you push into your hands, bring the knees forward, keep the belly in, tailbone down, bring your hands to your feet, lift your heart up, and then come up all the way. Whew, we did it. Whatever we did it. That deep opening, pulling into all that strength of the back body to open the front body in trust for the present moment. Come into a wide leg seat on your mat. We'll get a little low back love and recovery here. Legs are wide, whatever that means for you. Bring your hands down in front. Make sure the chest is open. And then leap forward into the void. Maybe you come onto your elbows. Maybe you walk your hands out in front and lower down, giving that low back some room to stretch out. Yeah, you're getting the backs of the legs, maybe the inner thighs to stretch. Really see if you can find a little space in the low back here. About 2 more rounds of breath here. Of course, if this is torture for you, come on out. It's supposed to be a recovery pose and supposed to feel good at this point in the practice. All right, start to lift yourself back up and then hold on to your inner knees. Bring your legs up and then come onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest and then circle your knees around. You're just rolling across that low back here. Circle in the opposite direction. And then take a happy baby pose. Reach up, grab onto your feet. So if grabbing the feet just feels like you're having to strive too much, grab onto your thighs just above the knees and pull down here. All right. On your exhale, stretch out onto your mat. Reach the legs long. If you want to cover up with socks or shirts or blankets, whatever you're doing there, get those in place. And then once you come into Shavasana, corpse pose, commit to, or try to commit to being still. If you come into corpse pose and, a fly lands on your nose, well, you need to shoo that away, but try not to just fidget. Try to allow yourself to sink in. Relax through the centers of your palms. Relax through the soles of your feet. Soften across your face, your brow, your eyes, your cheeks, your jaw, your mouth. Take a deep breath in through your nose and slowly, slowly let that breath move out through your mouth. Sink a little more into your back body, that place of knowing, of wisdom, that place of your past that has brought you to here. And then bring your awareness to your heart and know that you have everything you need to move into the present moment and the next present moment, the future. Even if you have to leap empty-handed into the void. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Feel the energy that comes with the breath coursing in and coursing out. And as that energy begins to pick up with a few deeper breaths, start to move your body gently. Move your toes and your fingers, maybe blink your eyes a few times. And then wrap your arms across your chest. Give yourself a hug here for being brave, for leaping into the void. Hug into all the past that's brought you to this moment that allows you to step bravely into the future. Stretch your arms overhead, lengthen your body long. And then on an exhale, roll to your right side. Take a moment here to honor your past, all the things that you've done that have brought you here. And then on an exhale, come up to a seat. And once you're set up in your seat, close your eyes and draw your hands back in front of your heart in Anjali Mudra. I hope as you go through your day, as you meet each moment, you're able to step into that moment with all of the past you bring with you, all of your experience and your knowledge, but also with open hands that allow you to be present to what can happen in the moment. Let's take a couple of breaths here to send our energy out to those in need today. Namaste. Thanks, everybody.